I love when people bring up this fun fact because it gives me the perfect opportunity to talk about my favorite topic, which is twins and twin pregnancies. I would like to take a moment and explain why this is not true, or rather, why I don't believe it to be true. Because what is true is that the Olsen twins themselves have gone on record and said this. So I am not saying that people who say this are lying or that the Olsen twins themselves are liars. I am saying I don't believe it, and I'm going to explain to you why. I have a whole other video explaining the difference between fraternal twins and identical twins. That is not what this video is. This video is explaining the 3 types of twin pregnancies specifically, and I swear this does come back to the Olsen twins. So when you are talking about twin pregnancies, you will hear 2 prefixes, mono and di. And these prefixes are in front of 2 words, chorionic and amniotic. Chorionic refers to placenta and amniotic refers to amniotic sacs. The placenta is the thing that gives your baby nutrients, that like everything you eat goes into the placenta and then just goes like, gives to them. And the amniotic sac is their little sleeping bag. So the 3 types of pregnancies, the 3 ways that twins can live in your body. These pregnancies are almost always referred to by just their prefixes. So I'm going to start with that and then break it down. You have di-di, mono-di, mono-mono. Let's start with di-di because it is the simplest. That is dichorionic, diamniotic. This means that in your pregnant body, you are carrying 2 placentas and 2 amniotic sacs. Let's say the pregnant person is an apartment building, which is kind of what it feels like to be pregnant with twins. The babies are living in 2 separate units. Each baby gets their own apartment. They have their own bedroom. They have their entire own unit with their own kitchen. This is the bougiest type of twin pregnancy for the babies. For the babies. Fraternal twins can only ever be di-di. They can only ever be di-di, period. So mono-di, monochorionic, diamniotic. This was my pregnancy. This is the most common identical twin pregnancy. The majority of identical twin pregnancies are mono-di. They are 1 placenta, 2 amniotic sacs. In this pregnant apartment building, they are in a 2-bedroom apartment. They are in the same unit, but they have separate bedrooms, but they're sharing a kitchen. They've got the same placental kitchen. So it's a little bit, it's a higher risk. It's a higher risk pregnancy because have you ever shared a kitchen like with a roommate? Like you can fight. There are fights that will happen. When you have a mono pregnancy, when the word mono is in there, it can only be identical twins. Like I said, fraternal twins can only ever be di-di. So as soon as you add something the same, one of something, you know that it has to be identical. And lastly, we have mono-mono. Monochorionic, monoamniotic. We're talking 1 placenta and 1 amniotic sac. These babies are in a studio apartment, sharing a bed. Like they are in 1 bed with 1 kitchen. This is the highest risk. This is the rarest and the highest risk. Because this is close quarters. Why did I explain this to you? How does this have to do with the Olsen twins? Like I said, di-di can only ever be fraternal. And if you have a mono in there, it can only ever be identical. However, you can have a di-di identical twin pregnancy. Assuming you already know how identical twins are formed, the type of identical twin pregnancy you have is dependent on when the zygote decides to clone itself. If your zygote is super type A and within like 1 to 2 days of being fertilized, it's like clone. It's like, I'm feeling myself. I want another me now. You will have a di-di pregnancy. Your zygote really was on its shit. And so it applied early and it got the best housing. If your zygote is like mine and is like, you know, waits a little bit, kind of like feeling itself out, and after 5 to 6 days, it's like, you know, I'm a little bored. I'm gonna clone self. I'm gonna clone self. That'll be fun. That'll be really fun. Then you get a mono-di pregnancy. And if your zygote is a real procrastinator and by day 9, it still is just one little zygote, and then they were like, you know, wait a minute, last call, me, a clone self, clone it, then they got to share a bed. And it is worth saying that it can split after 12 days, and that is how you get conjoined twins. So why does this matter? This matters because most doctors, even today, like definitely in the past, but even today, a lot of doctors, when they see a di-di pregnancy, they will just automatically say fraternal, because fraternal can only be di-di, and if there is a mono in there, it can only be identical. But there is this space. There's this space when the zygote was so ready. Like, it's not that common, but when your zygote knows, and it knows, and it knows, and it gets that good housing, they're still identical. They're just identical with good housing. And the only way to tell if your di-di twins are identical is through a DNA test. And I am pretty sure that the Olsen twins have also gone on record saying they have never taken a DNA test because they don't care. And like, why should they? Who cares? Ultimately, who gives a fuck if they are fraternal or identical? But for the sake of this video and this fun fact, you can look at them. Like, a lot of times you can look at twins and see they are identical, and look at the Olsen twins. Ultimately, who cares? Who cares if the Olsen twins are identical or fraternal? I will go to my grave believing in my heart that they are identical, but now you know, and now you can decide for yourself.